Lee.
Sir.
So the Good Men Project, I want to close out on that. That guy sounds like a lunatic loser. Are you going to continue to follow this clown at all?
If he strays into the gun arena again, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he clearly knows nothing about guns or people who use them.
He's already strayed into the deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Guys like this, the reason it's important to talk about people like this, I don't care what kind of audience the guy has. What this shows,
I don't either.
Well, it shows the groupthink mentality of people like this. It's indicative of what we face every single day from those on the left, from the gun grabbers on the left. Always. It doesn't matter if he's got 5 readers. It doesn't matter if he's got a Substack with 500,000. It doesn't make any difference. What this is, it shows that groupthink, Lee. I find that fascinating. The bill of goods that they've been sold.
I didn't find it fascinating when I first saw it. Let me tell you, I was peeved beyond words that this guy would bring up these horrific shootings to make his point. I mean, it's just sick, quite frankly.
Well, if that's what you have to do, wait, again, he's lumping in, trying to form an opinion on this, having just seen this for the first time, right? Where my mind goes with this is, I don't know if the guy has a relationship with any anti-gun group. I have no idea. Did you see in anything that you read from him that he does, that he's spoken to any of them?
No, I think he's just a hardcore anti-gunner.
Okay, so in that particular case then, guys, it shows the power of the anti-gun groups, what they're able to get across to folks who are of like mind, who will buy 100%. Into this, you know, and that's what's important, and it's why we want to talk about it, because you likely have somebody in your life like that too, who may not be a part of Everytown for Gun Safety, or even know who they are, for that matter, or Gabby Giffords. But they watch mainstream media, they see the gobbledygook all the time. They talk about it amongst their friends that guns are bad, people that own guns are bad, and it's why the other side is able to raise so much money, not to mention the billionaire whose pocket they live in. But it's why they're able to do what they do when they get out on social media, which they're very, very effective at, Lee. You know, bringing 200,000, 300,000 people to Washington. It's people like this, who think like this, that they're able to suck in.
Part of me says that we should not allow them their talking space, that we should take what they say and bring that to our readers and our listeners as often as we can.
Yeah, I don't think you meant by that we should not let them be heard. I want them to be heard. I want people to hear them.
I want them to be heard, yeah, absolutely. And I hope people go to the link and read and comment about what this man has said about us.
Yeah. Well, okay. I guess, you know, guys, it is remarkable the way they're able to suck people's minds in who feel and don't think. Because to somehow suggest let's just give you some numbers that he should know. If he's part of the anti-gun establishment, he would know that there's well over 120 to 150 plus million gun owners in this country, at least. I think the number's higher. But let's just say it's 100 million.
I do too.
Let's just round it down to 100 million. 100 million people, ladies and gentlemen. That's 1.5 times the size of Great Britain's population. And still leaves 220 plus million of us here. And if guns were bad, and all people who own guns were bad, imagine what the numbers would look like. To anyone who thinks and doesn't just feel, that's purely logical. But they don't do that. And I don't know why I'm acting shocked by this right now. There's probably people out there going, well, he sounds shocked. No, it's just another stark reminder of what it is that we're up against, Lee, I guess, is what I'm saying. It's just another in-your-face reminder.
I'm working on a story involving a gentleman who sold gun parts that you could convert into functional weapons. He's in jail, and his biggest sales have all been the red states. So I think the red states are people are waking up and deciding, hey, I need to get something here. I think the real number of gun owners in this country would be a big surprise. I bet it's more than half of the country.
Yeah, I would say that too, because again, I think we've talked about it before, but if I got that phone call from someone doing a poll, some goofy pollster asking me if I'm a gun owner, I'd laugh in their face and hang up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a fair assessment. And the best information we have is 4473s. We know that over 1 million of those were moving, particularly over the Biden years and the Obama years. Gun sales have slowed down. And while they're still higher than they were, they're still at record numbers. But they're far slower, as you know, than they were years ago. All right. But
right.
The country is well armed. And for people to make a suggestion, and again, I go back to that analogy I use. If you turn your guns in to the police, well, your local community is safer. In order to think that, you would have to believe that everybody who owns a gun is eventually going to commit a crime. That's what you would have to think. And how do you counter that argument? If they shoot back at you, but it turns out that every gun owner that committed a crime started out a legal gun owner. No, that's not true either. However, let's just say, okay, I'll give you that. There's 100 million of us that own guns. How many murders were there last year?
Yeah.
Right? Where were the other 995,000, 990,000? Where were they? And it never happens year after year. Again, it's groupthink. It's a feeling that isn't critically thought out. But we already know that. We already know that. I got a really terrible story to tell you about today, Lee. AWR and I were talking about this yesterday. Did you happen to read the story of Zoe Welsh, a teacher at Raleigh, North Carolina?
No, I have not.
Ravenna School?
No.
She was on the phone with 911 while she was being beaten. While she was on the phone. She was beaten to death while she was on the phone with 911. They nailed the guy. It's a horrible, horrible story. But there's lessons to be learned here, guys. There's always a lesson. Let me read part of this. Zoe Welsh, a teacher at Raleigh, North Carolina's Ravenscroft School, was attacked and fatally beaten while on the phone with 911 Saturday morning in her home. And the report emanated from 6ABC, which is where I saw it and sent it over to Breitbart. But the police went to Welsh's home just after 6:30 a.m. and discovered she had been critically injured. CBS 17 over there locally in Raleigh noted that she had severe injuries to her head. Officers immediately rendered aid, rushed to the hospital where she died. A guy by the name of Ryan Camacho, 36 years old, was located in the area by cops. He was arrested. He was charged with murder and felony breaking and entering. And the statement here from the Raleigh Police Chief, Rico Boyce: I'm deeply heartbroken for this mother, friend, and mentor to many in our community, and for the unimaginable trauma her family must endure. We extend our deepest sympathy to Ms. Welsh, to her family during this incredibly difficult time. Whenever there's a loss of life in our community, it affects us all as a department. We share in the sadness of this loss. The arrest of the suspect sends a strong message that criminal acts will not be tolerated in the city of Raleigh. Well, as we go to the break, let me say that's not good enough for me. After the fact, it's not good enough for me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you own a gun, I don't care if you're in your home, and I'm going to tie this to Illinois' new lock 'em up law, Lee, when we come back from the break.
Yeah.
I'm going to guarantee you that if this woman had access to a firearm on her person, this would not have happened. If she had it on her and was able to use it, she would not have been beaten to death. I'm not blaming the victim here. I'm just saying that I want you to change your mind and think about these things, ladies and gentlemen. The sanctity of your home is not what you believe it to be. We'll be right back with Lee, the gun writer Williams. Don't go away. This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back. Yeah, guys, welcome back. I'm holding up the card. Some of you lost the live stream. You can watch us on X if you want to go back over there and join in. You can do that. I'm holding up my Attorneys on Retainer card. I've had this for a long time now, and I'm going to tell you, this is the single best thing you can do for yourselves for 2026, okay? If you don't have this card in your wallet and you carry a firearm, you're taking a huge risk, because if you ever have to use your firearm, it doesn't end there. There's going to be an investigation. And I'll tell you, I will make one phone call if it happens to me again, because I did use my firearm. I didn't have to pull the trigger. That doesn't mean I didn't use my firearm. I pointed it directly at two individuals, right smack in their face. And I would have used it. I'd have squeezed the trigger, because I was going home to my 2-week-old daughter and my wife that day when they attempted to, apparently wanted to carjack my car when they couldn't get a hold of the other one. Put a stop to that with my gun. Cops weren't called. Light changed. I was able to go to work. And about 4 hours later, I put a brand new gun in my wife's car. But guys, had the cops been called, I would have said one thing. I will talk to you. I want to talk with you. But I'm going to talk to my attorney first, because I have an attorney. And I want you to be able to do the same thing. Now, I likely would have skated on that, because what I did was 100% lawful. I did talk to some law enforcement after the fact, and what I did was fine. But that's not, hearing that after the fact doesn't mean there's not going to be an investigation. There is going to be, okay? So and they're going to talk to other witnesses who were there. Guess what? Everybody sees something different. Everybody sees something different. Well, I didn't see those guys carjacking anybody. I just saw this guy pull a gun on him. And that person is you. All right? This is something you need. It only went up a couple bucks. It's $37 a month. It was $35. And that's if you use the AAR promo code. So please, please, please take advantage of that, okay? Also, join the National Rifle Association. Join the NRA. We're going to go there briefly with Lee. I want to close out first with this North Carolina story. Lee, the gun writer. Oh, and guys, by the way, please check out all of our great partners. Check out barrelbuddy.com. Make sure to go to budsgunshop.com, goatguns.com, Tyrannics. Pick up some really cool shirts and fun stuff. It's all there for you at armedamericanradio.com. And the NRA is again, $35, ladies and gentlemen. I had a great conversation with them today. We'll go there briefly in just a minute. Lee, let's knock out the North Carolina conversation here. Again, I'm not blaming a victim here. This story horrified me. No. When AWR got it, he called me back. He said, this is one of the saddest stories I've ever read. And he did a deep dive into it. Of course, he's only got X amount of space to write, so couldn't go into great detail about it. But I would venture to say that this was a person that was likely unarmed. And I think it's important to point out that we all feel our home is our castle. We feel safe when we come in our home. We should feel safe when we come in our homes and lock our doors. I live in a great area, okay? I don't live on the wrong side of the tracks, however you want to describe that in your own world, all right? But I'm not stupid enough to believe that something can't happen to me, that my home can't be broken into. My neighborhood has had vandalism before, cars broken into. In fact, not long after I moved here in 2005, Lee, there was 2 home invasions not far from me in the neighborhood right across the street from mine. One of them attempted to get in a home in my neighborhood, okay? So it can happen to anybody. And have you ever noticed, Lee, when we talk about these self-defense stories, that someone kicks in the door, breaks in, and the homeowner shoots them? Do you think the homeowner said, let me go to my gun safe and get my gun and then go back and redo that so we can play that again? That person has a gun right there with them somewhere. And the left would call you paranoid.
I totally agree. I have several safes, and including a small gun safe on my desk, but I have a gun on my hip, and I'm always armed. That's just the only way to be, because there's nothing quicker than drawing a gun from a holster. And anybody that thinks they're going to go to their safe and have to do a combination, or take a gun that's not loaded and load up the magazine and then put the magazine in the gun, no, you're going to be dead, and the bad guy will have a nice gun.
I mean, there's that maybe your home is so big that it's going to take them 5 minutes to get to you, and you have the time to do that. Maybe that's the case. But in all likelihood, it's not. Okay? Now, in regards to Illinois, let's make this comparison, because Illinois and the lock the guns up and all this law nonsense in effect, and, the
dumbest thing I've ever seen, quite frankly, Mark.
Well, it is. And here's the deal. My home is my safe. My home is my safe. Okay?
Yeah.
The moment I lock my front door, wherever my gun is none of Pritzker's business. None. Period. You break in my home, I'm going to kill you. It's that simple. Let's move over to the national. And sadly, apparently this woman did not, or at least did not have access to it. And that's sad to see. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're a gun owner, make sure that gun is accessible to you, even when you're home, okay? You're in the kitchen.
Make sure it's loaded, too.
Make sure it's loaded. Put it on top of the refrigerator. You're a responsible gun owner, okay? Your toddler's not getting on the refrigerator. You know your kid. You know what to do. I've got a small safe right here next to me. I keep it locked here. I've instant access to this. I also have one right here that's not locked, and I have one right there that's not locked, and I have another one right there that's not locked in the studio. Because I clean them and shoot them and all kinds of fun stuff. Lee, let's move over to the NRA. This is an important story. Very important story, ladies and gentlemen. You may have seen this, you may not have, but the NRA blows whistle on NRA Foundation, Lee, files lawsuit in court. Today, did you see this?
Yeah,
yesterday.
I talked about it.
Sad story. Yesterday, the National Rifle Association filed a lawsuit against the NRA Foundation, asserting the NRA's ownership of the intellectual property used by the foundation. The case, known as NRA v. the NRA Foundation, seeks to hold the NRA Foundation's leadership accountable for operating in bad faith and withholding funds meant to support the NRA's charitable activities. The complaint alleges that current NRA Foundation leadership is misleading donors who believed they are donating to support the National Rifle Association's mission when, in fact, those funds were not being used or being provided to the organization. And Doug Hamlin, who's been on the show before and is a friend, said this is a disappointing day and it should not have come to this. A foundation established to support the NRA Association has taken actions that are adversarial at a time when the NRA is rebuilding and focused on its long-term mission. I'm deeply disappointed that these steps were taken, leaving no reasonable alternative. The action represents a last resort. Guys, what's happening here is this is your new NRA being as transparent as possible. Now, I had questions about this, and legitimate questions, and a lot of people do. I am so thrilled that the NRA is doing what they're doing. You know who's running the old foundation? Part of the old Wayne's World, who won't let go. Now, I know who they are, and I know the names. I'm not going to mention their names. Okay? This is current ongoing litigation. There are people you have to ask yourself, and no, Wayne is not involved. Wayne LaPierre is not involved. But let's just say cronies from days gone by just won't let go. And what is your NRA doing now?
30.
Fixing the problem, Lee. And it's great to see, because this is how it's done, folks, okay? This is why we need to support this organization, who is now doing everything in their power to fix whatever problems are lingering out there, as they are completely rebuilding everything, and they are not going to let anybody get in the way. When you donate to the NRA, it goes to what you need it to go to and their core missions. And that's a beautiful thing. Lee, I'll tell people where they can find you, brother. We're out of time, unfortunately.
They can go to thegunwriter.substack.com. They can go to armedamericannews.org, or we hope they go to saf.org. SAF's and Second Amendment Foundation.org.
Yeah, ran out of time on us, Lee. I'm sorry. I apologize. I can't control Father Time, brother. Nor can I control Mother Nature, right? Lee, I love you. Happy New Year, brother. Great to have you back on the show for 2026. Can't wait to bring you back again soon. That's Lee the Gunwriter Williams, ladies and gentlemen. A real, true investigative journalist. A real one. Read him over at Second Amendment Foundation and catch him on our combined-owned website, Armed American News, which we were talking about on 97.1 FM in St. Louis today with Mark Cox this morning. Great people. They read the site as well. Guys, we're going to get up and do it again tomorrow because they don't want us to. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow.
You just filled your prescription for freedom.
With Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association.
The National Rifle Association.
On the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, those of you that are watching on the stream, that is available. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it very much. We'll have everything running again. I don't know what happened today, to be honest with you. But I do have an idea, and it's completely fixable. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you guys are ever watching the show, it is a radio show. We bring you the live stream every single day. But it is a radio show, and if that ever happens and you want to continue listening to the show live, it's real simple to do. Just go to armedamericanradio.com and click listen live, and you can do that from your phones, devices, anywhere. It's really that simple. Or the podcast will be up for you usually within the hour every single day. You can catch it later at that point in time. So, guys, stay safe out there. Thanks for tuning in. Yet again, 2026 is well underway now. We'll be back on the radio for you and back on live streams for you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. See you on the radio, guys. Thanks for tuning in.